So welcome to First and 15 Overtime Edition. Guys, I want to jump right in. Two teams got two new quarterbacks, two new veteran quarterbacks. The New Orleans Saints got Derek Carr, who I actually got a chance to watch in high school. Went to Clements High School, by the way. Got a chance to see him in high school. But that's on the side.
Derek Carr went to Clements?
Mm-hmm.
Man, no, he didn't.
He did.
Did he?
Yeah. He went
No
to Clements.
way.
Yes. David was playing with the Texans. He was playing in high school.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I got a chance to literally
Clements
see
was trash when we were in school. We used to beat them all the time.
Yeah.
Like they were like the worst team. Like they were a smart school though.
Yeah.
So they had
They were
scholars.
So we had to punch him. Nah.
Yeah. We checked that out.
Derek Carr went to Clements. Okay.
Take your books up.
Get back in them books over here. What's wrong with y'all? Get off this damn field.
But he's now going to be in New Orleans. We also know that obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be in New York. Who truly has the bigger upgrade, Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson? And again, the question is, I'm going to repeat it. Who has the bigger upgrade, Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson? Who do you see?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and give it to Garrett Wilson.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's good because I was giving it to Olave.
Yeah,
Good.
I think it's fairly obvious. I mean, there were times and moments last year where the Jets' backup quarterback was forced into certain game scripts where they just had to throw the ball quite a bit. How efficient those passes were, those being spike weeks, I think, says something. So to kind of see them get a quarterback who can have more sustainable production, predictable production over a full-length season, I like that. And I feel like with Aaron Rodgers, a healthy Aaron Rodgers, people forget that he had a thumb injury last year. A healthy Aaron Rodgers, I think can provide Garrett Wilson with efficient passes, run after the catch passes, more red zone opportunities. So I like that upgrade with the Jets over New Orleans. I think I've talked about it last year. I don't think Dalton was great, but Dalton actually was pretty efficient. He had some pretty good metrics last year, and I thought he was in DGAF mode last year. He was not looking to check the ball down. He ignored Alvin Kamara. Ooh, I'm still pissed about that.
I know you are.
So he was really looking in the intermediate and downfield. So Olave was getting a lot of those targets. He wasn't necessarily accurate in those targets, and we may see that Derek Carr can help out with that to some degree. But I do think Derek Carr is going to check down to his running backs a little bit more often. I do think that now they also have other weapons. So, I'm kind of getting into more Olave versus Garrett Wilson. But I do think that they have other weapons that are formidable. Juwan Johnson is a great tight end. Carr's used his tight end in the past, but this offense uses tight end. And then you're hearing all this Foster Monroe buzz. I mean, like ESPN put out an article about OTAs who was like, each one picked their most impressive.
I want to touch on that too, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I want to touch on that.
Yeah, maybe grain of salt. But I would say, I'm not saying Foster Monroe is the reason why you should be downgrading Chris Olave, but Michael Thomas is the other one, and then Rashid Shaheed. So I think that's technically a little bit more, but I'm just not that huge a Derek Carr fan. I'm just not seeing it from Derek Carr to for me to think that he's this significant.
Well, let me jump in here real quick. And the reason why Olave is the guy for me is because one of the big stats from last year with Olave is I think he broke a record for most air yards in a season, right? Andy Dalton, like you mentioned, he was kind of DGAF mode last year as far as Andy Dalton, and I think that was slightly a hindrance. I think there was a lot of games where he was just saying, Olave, go deep, and I'm just going to chunk it up there. And he didn't connect with Olave as much as he probably should or could have. I think when you have a different quarterback that's actually going to try to use the short, intermediate, and long range of the field, it's going to open up Olave's route tree. It ain't just going to be Olave just go routes all the time. Olave is going to have the opportunity to get the slants. He's going to have opportunities to get the out routes, the posts, everything just kind of from the beginning of the line of scrimmage all the way, and then we know he can go deep if need be. So I think that's going to allow Olave to kind of have more of a full wide receiver type season. Where it's not just this specialized, just go deep guy. I think that's going to benefit him a lot. He's the youngest. Well, I guess Rashid Shaheed is still there, but Michael Thomas is older. He's kind of phasing out. Taysom Hill is old. He's in his 30s. These other options, they're guys that are just kind of older. So, yeah, they might be, solid veterans as far as possession guys, but they're not the flashy, the ones that's really going to just kind of take the like blow up the game type will.
Yeah, but who's Garrett Wilson's competition?
I mean, he has a lot, right?
Who?
So first of all,
Who?
Aaron Rodgers brought over his boy.
But he didn't use his boy last year.
Right, I'm just saying he brought him over.
But he didn't use his boy last
So you
year.
have Alan Lazard there. But it's not even okay, so and I should have prefaced this by talking about Garrett Wilson, but I'm not so much looking at what Garrett Wilson has going forward, but looking more so what Garrett Wilson had last year. When Zach Wilson wasn't playing, Mike White was actually a very suitable option for Garrett Wilson as a quarterback. That's when actually Garrett Wilson was actually producing the most. He had a quarterback that was actually able to get the ball in his hands, and Garrett Wilson showed out, right? So now you switch Mike White to Aaron Rodgers, which we know is an upgrade, but I guess
How
the
much
question
of an
that you were
upgrade?
asking is the difference in the upgrade between Mike White and Aaron Rodgers is not as big to me as it is from Dalton to Derek Carr.
The difference between a Mike White type play last year and an Aaron Rodgers type play potentially is the efficient targets, so targets where he can run after the catch.
But he was running out the catch.
Now, I don't think
he actually ran pretty. A lot of his touchdowns were catch the ball and take it the distance last year.
We'll see, but then also more scoring opportunities. I think that's a big thing too.
But remember, keep in mind, Garrett Wilson was Rookie of the Year last year, so he did produce last year, and
that
it
was his
wasn't
last
with
year.
Zach Wilson.
So to me, that just tells you about his talent.
No, definitely. This is not an argument of talent. I'm squarely on the Garrett Wilson is more
Okay, so
talent.
then,
Like if my
Garrett
dynasty
Wilson.
teams definitely.
Case closed.
But the question was not who was
Line
more
it up.
talented. The question
Podcast
was
done.
who has the better.
Overtime over.
Turn off the lights. Close the door. Let's get out of here. It's like at the end of a game when the clock is going down. Everybody get off the field. Get out of here.
Headset on.
Fade to black. Fade to black.
Oh, but that's where I'm coming from with that. What was the point you were making that I wanted to touch on? Oh, that ESPN article. Total tangent, right?
Yeah.
But that ESPN article stuck out to me. I was thinking about this morning, right? The article was all the beat writers, I don't even know if it was beat writers, but reporters for the team, name a player, one player on each team that was, I guess, showed out the most during minicamp or whatever.
The standout, yeah.
The guy that stood out the most. It had me thinking, I was like, because I looked at the Texans guy, right? The Texans picked Derek Stingley. And me paying attention to the Texans reports all summer long, it's not just been Stingley, it's been Tank. It's been CJ Stroud, it's been Schultz. And it had me thinking, okay, if I know there's other guys that are showing out, not just Stingley, with this report or this ESPN article, I wonder what the other guys are. Right? Not just this one standout. Because most teams don't have just one guy showing out. It's mostly like a handful of guys. So with that information, I was like, okay, let me look at all these beat writer names. And what I did is I Googled all their names and I looked at their articles they put out and their Twitter threads. And I'm basically just been going over all their reports as far as seeing who else they've said have stood out, except for just that one person. So I think that's just something to maybe consider doing. Just kind of get this slight edge. So it's just players that nobody.
Give us a synopsis.
I'm still working on it, just from this morning.
All right.
Maybe
Come
next
back-
week.
Yeah,
Maybe
come back next week.
But the reason I'm saying is because everybody knows who's in the ESPN article, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention to the secondary guys.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something that give you that stay ready edge. So
All right, guys. Like that's a good overtime ending. Please like, rate, subscribe. Find us on Player Profiler.
that's the graphic right there.
I'm not putting it there. I'm not putting it there. We're out, guys.
You can
We're
click
out.
the link right there and find it.